Hey guys, I want to walk you through a quick dynamic warm-up as well as a couple other little exercises. I'll give you some key points along the way to look for with this, but pretty much the goal is that this should take you about 90 seconds-ish to get through this entire thing, minus me talking, okay? So first thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a dynamic swing with the leg. We're gonna do a forward and back one, as well as side to side. Really, I'm just looking to do 2 to 3 of these, but the key points I wanna make with it is not to move with the spine, but to just move with the hip, as well as try to add this little butt kick towards the end, which looks like this, okay? A lot of people will kick here, they'll kick early, they leave their leg out front. If we're running, I really wanna be able to get that leg out behind me and bend my knee, pull my heel towards my butt, okay? That's really what I'm aiming for as I'm doing this dynamic swing. You'll feel a nice pull in the hamstring as you're doing that. Like I said, just do about 2 to 3. We'll do both sides with that. I'm also trying to cue my core so that I'm not extending in my low back when I do this. Next, I'll do side to side. This one's a little bit less specific. I do want to try to move more so through the leg than I'm actually swinging. Swing, 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 2 to 3. Then I'm going to do a couple behind the leg. I'm imagining there's like a soccer ball right here behind my foot, and I'm trying to kick back in the opposite direction. Like I said, do some dynamic ones first, side to side, and then we'll finish with that kick, kick, okay? That's really it for the leg swings to start with. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna move into some ankle stuff. We're gonna start with some easy walks on our toes. I wanna go relatively slow and controlled with this. I'm not just walking on my toes real fast, okay? This goes for all these. I wanna go slow and controlled. Each step I take, I need to have a little bit of balance, right? And then I'll switch to a heel walk. Same thing, slow and controlled. Get those tib anteriors firing a little bit. Then I'm gonna go to a ankle breaker, so walking on the outsides of my feet, okay? Slow and controlled. This is best to do with shoes on. And then I'm gonna do the opposite of that, which we call the duck walk, where I'm trying to go on the inside of my feet, just as such. All right, I'm not doing too much, really about that much, okay? Next, what we can go into is a lunge, all right? We can do a forward lunge, and what I like to imagine is I'm holding on to a ball, but reach out in front of me, and I'm gonna twist towards that front leg, okay? Reach out in front, twist towards that front leg. I'm trying to go as far as I can, okay? This arm, reason why I say hold the ball is because this arm needs to follow suit and not get left behind, okay? And then I'll switch to another lunge. This time I'm taking that same ball, reaching up overhead, leaning to the side. Good. And big lunge, lean to the side as far as I can. Okay? And that really concludes the dynamic warm-up, okay? You can also do some karaoke, some hip circles or fire hydrants as well if you want to throw those in there. Those are fantastic exercises, okay? Next, what we're gonna do are some little bit more specific ankle mobility and hip mobility drills. So stay tuned till right about now. The next thing we're gonna do is the ankle 3-way mobility. What I wanna do is find a bench, or I could just do this on the ground in a half kneeling position. Sometimes it's a little easier to do it on a bench, especially if you're in public, or a stool or a step, just something to get your foot up. But I want to put my foot on it. I want to find the tripod of my foot, which is behind or below the heel, behind the big toe, and below the little toe. Those 3 points of contact. That's gonna be flat on the ground, and then I take my toes and just gently push them into the ground, okay? I'm not curling them, I'm just gently pushing them. Once I activate my tripod like that, once I find my tripod, I'm gonna then drive my knee over those toes without letting those points come up off the ground. I really don't want them to pancake out. I don't want my foot to pancake and flatten. I wanna just be able to keep a nice stable foot as I go as far as I can over that. I'm gonna come back and drive in onto the inside of the big toe, and then same thing on the outside of the little toe, okay? Keep that tripod through all 3 of those positions, just driving forward, in, and out. Nice, smooth, and steady. You get a great activation of the foot, as well as some nice good range of motion of the ankle. Last thing we're gonna do is the couch stretch. To get into this stretch, it's okay to start on all 4s, all right? If it's tough to get into, but I wanna put one foot on a bench, I'll have the other knee on the ground. I suggest to use a pad if you have one. If not, it might be a little uncomfortable, but bear with us, okay? So what I want to do is I want my knee to be below the hip, and then I want to find neutral spine. So I'll probably start off in this flex forward position. I do not want to be extending back with my head driven forward. I want to find a more neutral spine, neutral position, where I can then squeeze my glute and tuck my pelvis backward, tilt the pelvis back to get a big stretch on the front of the hip as well as the thigh, okay? So now I'm stretching my hip flexor and my quad. I'm not leaning back, compressing the spine. My knee is just below my hip, and I've got a nice deep stretch. I'm gonna take some slow, controlled breaths into the stomach. All right, I'm gonna do that for about 4 to 5 breaths, if not however long I need.